Prison systems are the new mental asylums. The horrors of the mental asylums that we try so hard to forget, the reason that we close them all down, those things are still happening. They're just happening in prisons. And we still have the same, if not more, mentally ill prisoners than we did back then. But now we are trying to find more ethical ways and more ethical solutions to helping them rather than just locking them up in prison and labeling them a criminal. Today, I would like to talk about how prisons are the modern day asylum and how they need to be reformed. How prisoners are not properly equipped with the things that they need to be equipped with in order to re-enter society in a meaningful way. And how prisoners are treated poorly for issues that they cannot control, and there needs to be a better way to handle that. So first, I would like to talk about how there's an estimated 56% of state prisoners, 45% of federal prisoners, and 64% of jail inmates that are mentally ill. That is a large percentage of the prison population. The fact that most of them are mentally ill means that most of them need that kind of medical attention. They need medicine, and they need to be treated differently than people who don't have mental illness. The outbursts are a product of their mental illness, not a product of them being disobedient. There should be other solutions. According to PBS Frontline, which is a documentary that I watched called The Jailed and Imprisoned Mentally Ill, the prisoners are based on this point system, and if they have an outburst or they're openly disobedient or they're violent towards the guards or other prisoners, they get locked into solitary confinement, or they aren't up for parole. They are not allowed to go on parole. They have to do their full sentence, while the other prisoners who are in there don't have that same, they have the same point system, but it's not stacked against them because they can choose to not have the outbursts. They can choose to not be disobedient. Mentally ill, you don't have that same kind of coherent choice. A lot of times things just happen and you react the way that you're going to react. So that is a very big problem because all of mentally ill prisoners have to stay in prisons their full sentence. They never learn anything because there's nothing for them to learn. They just need medical attention. Another problem that the prisons have is that many of the inmates that are released, mentally ill or not, do end up returning. Within 3 years of their release, 2 out of 3 people are rearrested and more than 50% are reincarcerated, according to the Journal of American Academy of Psychiatry and Law. That is a very big statistic and a very big reason that our prisons are overcrowded, because so many prisoners will leave and then come back. It could be for the rigid structure. It could be because they never did what they were supposed to when they left. Who knows? But for the mentally ill, it is because they got in trouble for the same thing that put them in there, whether it be for being homeless or sleeping in places they weren't supposed to, or just not having access to the resources that they need, like medicine, and they missed their parole dates because they didn't have their medicine, so they were having in the middle of a breakdown. Those are things that are grounds for reincarceration, which is it's not applicable. It's not fair to apply that to the prisoners who have mental illnesses because they can't control that. And if they don't have their medicine, which should be up to the state to give it to them instead of on them, then they get put right back into the prison system and they don't never get a chance to be reintroduced to society. So I would like to suggest some alternative options, which would be to reopen the asylums that we've closed and reopen more of them, have them be government funded, and have them reopen to the code of ethics that we have now. And that way the mentally ill prisoners and the normal prisoners will be separated, and the mentally ill can get the kind of help that they need in a different way, and the prisons stay just for criminals and the prisoners that need to be there. In conclusion, it is our responsibility as the young people and as the people who are entering the workforce to make the government think about these things, make people who are in power have these kinds of discussions and think about these kinds of things. Thank you.